Hello and welcome back to another episode of Perspective, the action-packed youth debate show. And today in the studio we have two new teams and we have a panel of judges and we have yet another preliminary round show for you guys. So before we head into any form of debate, I just want to introduce the contestants and the judges. So we have Team Free Thought who are against today's topic, and we have the Thinkers who are going for today's topic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the contestants first. So I'm going to ask, let's start off with the Thinkers. I'm going to ask you guys just to pick up the mic, say your name, your age, and one interesting fact about you, and then pass it on to the next person.
Hello, my name's Ibrahim. I'm 16 years old and I like football.
My name's Nazmu, I'm 15 and I like boxing.
I'm Mahdi, I'm 12 and I'm the oldest in my year, but I don't act like it.
Okay, thank you very much, the Thinkers. And now we come to Team Free Thought. Can I ask you to do the same?
My name's Sakib and I like cars.
My name's Isa and I'm 15 years old and I like food.
My name's Rifa, I'm 16 and I like chocolate.
Okay, so we've got quite a variety of contestants today, from food to football to just being plain immature. So now I'm going to introduce the judges. Okay, so closest to me we have Ahmed. He supports Manchester United. He graduated from the London School of Economics where he studied politics. He's from Iraq and he's working at a financial services consultancy at the moment. Okay, so Ahmed, can I ask you as a judge what you're looking for today in a winning team?
Most important thing is to consult each other before each answer, so togetherness and teamwork, and then back up your arguments with statistics and data.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Next judge we have Swaiba. She's 20 years old, just finished A-levels in philosophy, sociology and drama, and she's pursuing a career in acting. Swaiba, can I ask you the same question? What are you looking for today in a winning team?
As always, evidence, examples, but more specifically, speak with loud, clear voices. There's no use in having great arguments if we can't hear you and they're not being delivered well.
Okay, so speak clearly and back up your points. And finally, we have Mahmoud. He's aged 22. He's interested in Middle Eastern politics, economy and Islamic history. His occupation, he's a corporate health consultant at one of the leading health consultancies. He holds a degree from the London School of Economics in government and economics, as well as a master's in development management. So quite a mouthful there. Mahmoud, what are you looking for today?
So as the other guys said, make sure you back up your points with stats or any evidence that you've had or you've managed to come up with. And also make sure you listen to the other team and try and pinpoint any points or any arguments that you can attack them based on.
Thank you very much thank you very much to the judges. Okay, so now we're going to head into the debate for today. The topic is experimentation on humans. Now, any sort of science regarding and going around humans, this includes things like genetic engineering, drug trials on humans, and the whole idea of advancing the humans as a race. That sort of area of science, is it ethically right? Should we be doing it? Or should we think about ethics, or should we care more about how we can advance humans, the human race? So we have Team Free Thought, who are against any form of experimentation on/with humans, and we have the Thinkers, who are arguing for this topic. So let's enter the first phase of today's show, and this phase is the speech phase, where I'm going to be asking both teams to give short, 1-minute speeches, just covering a few points based on whether they are either for or against the topic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask first the Thinkers, if I could ask you to give your short 1-minute speech and then just pass it on to the next person in your team. Ibrahim?
So should I start?
Yeah.
Okay. So firstly, the main thing about testing on humans, no drug would ever be allowed to be given to humans if it wasn't tested on humans. Think about paracetamol. If it wasn't actually tested on humans, we would never actually know like if it's safe for humans to use if we only tested it on animals or did simulations, for example, which we also do. But testing on humans has to be the final stage, and even though we have to take a lot of precaution because we could actually hurt humans if the drug was actually bad, we still have to test it on them because we'll never know until we try, really. And also, if you talk about genetic engineering can give a lot of benefits to the human race. Think about loads of diseases, genetic diseases such as cystic fibrosis and stuff. If it wasn't for gene therapy, and which wouldn't happen without the help of genetic engineering, we would never actually be able to fight it or even prevent it at any cost. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. A very powerful speech there. Now, Nazmo, can I ask you to do the same?
So, genetic engineering has a huge impact on the soldiers that protect our country as well. DARPA has a budget of
Nazmo, can I ask you just to hold the mic?
DARPA has a budget of £2 billion a year, and this is used on making an exoskeleton for soldiers. They can run faster, they can lift heavier weights. It will also trigger genes in the body which can convert fat into energy. Also, this means that like fat soldiers can live off their body fat, which can free up space for them to carry more, such as ration packs and like things, guns and stuff.
Okay, thank you very much, Nazmo, for those points, very military orientated. And finally, for the thinkers, we come to Mahdi.
Well, with genetic engineering, people that aren't physically able to have children, they can use their genes to make a clone child, and they can also use genetic modification to give them the child they wanted. But not only that, they can genetic modification, it can be used to cure diseases such as cancer, leukemia, and also diabetes and cholesterol related diseases. And it also helps with war, as in you can make biogenetic armor, and also it helps people to like walk again, as in like genetic modification can help paralyzed people.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mahdi. So we've had all our speeches from the thinkers who are for today's topic. Now we're going to move on to free thought, who are against. And can I ask Saqib, can I ask you to give your speech?
So genetics, when they test it on humans, like the humans could die while in the testing process, and then we might die, and then we're gonna have to get more humans. So that means the humans could like get close to extinction if they keep on testing on humans. So.
Okay, thank you very much, Saqib. Isa.
If you do human experimentations like on babies or something, and if you do and you design your own baby, that's like playing God, and you're creating your own baby, which you should be happy with whatever child you get as well. And if you get a child and that's genetically modified, and a child that's not, it could create a community which could go to like a civil war, which will
to cause a lot of trouble for society.
It will cause a lot of trouble, and they might be creating babies for war, and if that gets into the wrong hands to an evil person, then they could ruin the world as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Isa. And finally, Rifat.
So the problem I found with biogenetics is that, because if you think about it, when soldiers get amputated, they can basically get their legs back again, or arms. So that's gonna encourage more warfare because they know that if they go into war and if they lose a leg or something, then they can just get it back, so there's no worry for them. So that's why. And if you think about it, if they create like biogenetic soldiers, they're going to be like super soldiers and they can like take over the world or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, so ideas of taking over the world. Thank you very much, Team Free Thought. So we've heard the speeches from both teams. We can see some very, very powerful arguments, which I'm sure will pop up gain in the latter phases of today's show. So once again, thank you to both teams. And before we go for a short break, I'm just going to come back to the judges, and I'm going to ask you, so far, based on what you've seen, what is your opinion so far on this topic as a whole? Ahmed.
Some contrasting arguments, so it'd be interesting to see what each team says to the opposing team.
Swiber.
I'm interested just to hear what more you guys have got. I think we've just touched the surface and there's a lot more to discuss.
Yeah, I was very interested the against team, some extreme ideas there, so hopefully we'll see how these develop over the show.
Okay, so far on the topic of experimentation on humans, we've heard the idea of, designer babies being made. We've heard things about genetic engineering, how it can help the human race advance. We've heard things about soldiers wearing exoskeletons. We've also heard about how it can help cure diseases, but also the idea of how if some of this power which is given to humans falls into the wrong hands, maybe they might be using it for the wrong motives, such as war or, as Rifat said, taking over the world. So that brings an end to the first phase. After the break, we're going to have the second phase of the show, and the second phase is what we like to call the debate phase. So what the debate phase consists of is we're going to have both teams coming up with opening/starting statements or arguments, and then we're going to have the opposition team respond to that. Then we're going to have the original team counter, and we're going to go back and forth until I call an end to that string of debate, and then I'm going to ask the other team to come with their opening statements/arguments. So I just want to remind the contestants that the judges are going to be looking out for how you construct your argument, whether your response actually links to the original point that was made. And as Swiber said at the beginning, she wants a lot of evidence, so make sure you guys have your statistics ready so that when the opposition team does come up with a point, you can destroy that point and you can use evidence to back it up. So that brings us to the end of this first phase. So as you know, after the break we're going to move on to the second phase, but for now let's just have our quick break.